And we are freaking live. Hey guys, welcome to the Loreverse Live podcast where we talk about things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and fantasy. It's your boy Stevie Hayes. I am so happy to be here today. This isn't going to be a long show. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, but there are some things to address, man. There are some things to address. It is a great day to be a Star Wars fan, filled with questions, but all in all, a great day. Hope you guys are doing well, and we are going to be diving deep into some into just a lot of stuff. We don't really have that many topics, but we are going to be just diving deep into some stuff and talking about brands and all that kind of jazz. But as you guys know, right before okay, so here's the wild thing. When I first was setting up the show earlier today, I was like, you know what, like let me just, I was gonna make this whole episode about Arya Stark because we got some more news about the Game of Thrones spinoff or the sequel series. So I'm like, okay, let's dive deep into Arya Stark and what's going on with her and get that situated. But then right when I posted the live stream for like the Arya Stark Game of Thrones centered episode on YouTube and X, what pops up? Kathleen Kennedy, she announces that she is stepping down from stinking Lucasfilm. And I was like, we have now found our video that we are going to talk about. So in honor of this, I wanted to show you guys a video that I did back in the day because if you guys don't know, I've been doing YouTube for a while, man. I've been doing this since like 2020, like right when that crazy, virus came into our world during COVID. And so I wanted to find excuse me, the actual video and talk about it because I just think it is it has been years and years and years of just crap, and it's just super wild that we have finally come to this place in our lore of Kathleen Kennedy that she is now stepping down from Lucasfilm, and it's been years and years and years where people have thought that it was going to be 1 year, but then she says, "No, I'm not like stepping down." It's been rumors back and forth, and back and forth, back and forth, and like the trades, Variety, I'm pretty sure posted an official whole article of her stepping down. So I wanted to show a video that I made in 2021, and it is called "How I Feel About Kathleen Kennedy Staying as President of Lucasfilm." And the literal text in it is, "Why is she still the president of Lucasfilm?" I think it's one of the funniest videos I have ever done. This is when I like first started doing content, like because I was always on and off on doing like podcast stuff, and I was like, but then I started doing like solo videos kind of on my own. So we're gonna wait for this to download here, and then we're gonna watch it. But yeah, man. But we're gonna read all of the details in regards to Kathleen Kennedy and her stepping down and what that means. So on January 15th, 2026, the Walt Disney Company officially announced that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as the president of Lucasfilm after a 14-year tenure. So let's talk about the new leadership structure here. So following Kennedy's departure, Lucasfilm will transition into a dual leadership model to manage its creative operations. So we have Dave Filoni. He's going to be the president and chief creative officer, and he's a longtime creative protege of George Lucas. He will lead the studio's storytelling and creative direction. And then Lynn Wynn Brennan, she will be the co-president, formerly the general manager of Lucasfilm. Brennan will oversee the studio's business affairs and operational leadership. And they both will report directly to Disney Entertainment co-chairman Alan Bergman. Okay, so here's Kathleen Kennedy's next step. Kennedy is not retiring from the film industry. Instead, she's returning to her roots as a full-time producer. Now, her immediate focus includes the Mando and Grogu, producing the upcoming feature film directed by Jon Favreau, Star Wars Starfighter, producing the 2027 theatrical release. She has some independent projects outside of Lucasfilm. And so just to give history, she was handpicked by George Lucas to lead the company in 2012 when it was acquired by Disney, and her 14-year reign was marked by significant commercial success and some internal turbulence. So she was financially successful. Under her leadership, Lucasfilm generated over $5.6 billion at the global box office and major projects. She oversaw the Star Wars sequels, standalone films like Rogue One, and a lot of franchises and the franchise's successful expansion into live action streaming with the Mando and Grogu series. And her tenure has also faced criticism regarding creative consistency and production issues on films like Solo, a Star Wars story. So we got to give Kathleen Kennedy credit to a degree. And Hunger Might, this is not just Star Wars topics. No, we right after we get done these Star Wars topics, we're going right into some Marvel stuff, some DC stuff, and then some Game of Thrones stuff, and then I'll be out of y'all here. So we got to give Kathleen Kennedy her props, number one, because she is responsible for a lot of the success at Star Wars. Yes, a lot of stuff dudded, but she did have successful projects like Mandalorian, very successful projects until people's hands got put into it, and it obviously got worse. The sequels, they made a lot of money. Obviously, people didn't like them, but the sequels, they were very financially successful. Andor, very popular show, good show, not my taste, but good show. Star Wars Rogue One, a movie that a lot of people love. And like whenever I talk to people about what their favorite Star Wars movie is, a lot of people put Rogue One in their top three. So there has been some type of success that I've seen, but Kathleen Kennedy's legacy, man, it is a weird legacy, and the reason why it is weird is because of the fact that and I don't blame everything on her. I think Bob Iger is responsible too for a lot of these things, but Lucasfilm, as in Star Wars, the Star Wars that we grew up with, if you guys all know, I mean, it basically got trashed, bro. You know what I mean? Like it basically got crapped on, and I think I think what they did with Rey has to be a big part of that. I think shows like The Acolyte have to be a part of that. The way that they change things in the Mando show has to be a part of that. And so like whenever there was success, there was always like a dark cloud, that was circling around Star Wars. And I'll even argue that like with the sequels, they were caught in the mix of movies being very financially successful, because during that time you could poop out a billion dollar movie. Do you guys understand that Aquaman made $1 billion? Aquaman 1, and that's a movie that I love. I rewatch it all the time, but there's no way that today that same thing happens. That Aquaman 1 makes $1 billion. Like that's crazy. Think about this. Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker. Look, yes, Palpatine back. That movie made over $1 billion, bro. And Star Wars The Last Jedi made a lot of money. Star Wars The Force Awakens, that was meant to make a lot of money. Come on, that's like the first Star Wars project back. That was obviously going to make a lot of money. But like these Star Wars projects like were very successful, and they were in a time where the MCU, I believe they were responsible for a lot of other studios pooping out $1 billion films. And I'm telling you, she's been dodging theaters ever since COVID. And I think it's because she knew that if she brought a movie into theaters, it would flop. And Hunger Almighty, you are completely right, bro. Aquaman did only make that bill because of the success of the MCU, and so did other projects. And the Star Wars sequel trilogy, I would argue, The Rise of Skywalker is a product of just MCU hype. You know what I mean? And because whenever and what it seems like is it feels like the MCU is kind of the temperature level for what movies are going to make at this point. And so, yeah, man, I think it's just insane, that she was able to make that kind of money with the way that they were doing things to those characters. And I could go deeper, because I don't think The Last Jedi was entirely a bad concept. I think a lot of people misjudge what they did with Luke Skywalker. But even if I think that, I mean, we can all agree that they dudded like all of these movies. You know what I mean? When it comes to the sequels. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a really good thing that she has stepped down. I think this is probably the best news that I've gotten in a while in regards to Star Wars. And the fact that we are coming under the leadership of Dave Filoni from a creative standpoint, that is a good decision. But the thing is also with Dave is like, Dave, you cannot mess this up, bro. As fans, this is what we wanted. This is all of us have said, like, we wanted you because you studied under George. And you understand George Lucas and Star Wars. And the question is, which direction are you going to go? And when we talk about the updates on these Star Wars films, that is also going to be a question to Mr. Dave Filoni, because what are you going to do with all of this stuff too? What is and we're going to get into Simon Kinberg's trilogy and all that, but like Dave has done a great job with Ahsoka. A lot of people hate on Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka is a great show. But we all know he cannot just keep throwing Ahsoka and everything, right? He has to try to create his own. He has to try to like. This is the thing about Star Wars, and we talked about this on the podcast last week, right? In order for someone to save Star Wars is different from a Game of Thrones. It's different from an MCU. It's different from a DCU, because you don't really have books. You really don't have lore that is like definitive to go off of. There is the EU, but a lot of fans don't like classify that as the as the definitive Lord, mostly because Luke is OP, and a lot of people think that's just ridiculous. And so when it comes to Star Wars, you have to find someone that is genius enough to understand the rules of Star Wars, right? The Force, and they have to understand all of the spirituality of Star Wars. But you also have to be able to create a ongoing story with your own characters, because you're not because the EU isn't canon anymore. So I think Dave has to be the perfect guy to do that. And that's pretty much it. And he has characters like Ezra. He has characters like Ahsoka, but I don't know if those are the people that you need to rely on to push your mainline Star Wars story forward. And so I wouldn't be shocked if Dave Filoni does end up using Rey, but I wouldn't be shocked. But also wouldn't be shocked if Dave Filoni made a lot of changes to make it line up and to make it better. Because like a lot of people say, oh, like Dave Filoni is a company man. He's this, he's that. But like, how many y'all? But like, obviously, he's not going to rebel the way he wants because he's not the boss. It's just like if you're working at a regular job and you don't like what your boss does, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to go and speak up because you can get fired. You're going to shut up and work and do what you got to do in your corner until you're the boss, and you can make your own decisions. So I think Dave's going to be making his own decision. He's going to make a lot of moves, and the hope is that he can take Star Wars to a new level. But that's all. But not only can he do that, right? Because I think he can. He has to deliver. Because it's not like this dude has been making all swishes. And I was texting one of my good friends about that earlier. Like he said, he's like, bro, like it's not like everything he's done has been just drop dead amazing, and he's not wrong. My friend's not wrong about that. So. And that's the truth. Not everything has been a cold swish, but I do think that Dave Filoni, and I hope that he, gets in George's ear and gets some advice and, gets some actual guidance to go into Star Wars and actually make real moves. Because I really think this thing can be saved having a guy like Dave Filoni in your corner. And like, I don't understand why Jon Favreau isn't the guy directing the next pair of Star Wars films. I wouldn't even get with somebody like Simon Kinberg. So we do have an update on all the Star Wars movies as well. So let's dig into that real quick. Let me pull this up. Thought I had it up here. Because Kathleen Kennedy also gave an update on kind of what's going on. So here's an update. So number one, Donald Glover turned in. Let me pull up the next topic here. My bad, y'all. My bad. Okay, here we go. Number one, Donald Glover turned in a script for a Lando film. James Mangold's film is on hold, but the script is incredible. Taika Waititi turned in a script for a film she calls hilarious and great. Simon Kinberg is actively working on a new trilogy that Dave and Llewellyn are very on board for, and confirms that the Hunt for Ben Solo script is great, but the film is on the back burner. So that's an update on kind of what's going on. And let's talk about each project. Okay, Donald Glover turned in a script for a Lando film. I don't think we need a Lando film. You make it a show or a Disney Plus special. I think a Lando Disney Plus special will be very successful, and I think the fans will eat it up. You take that Lando film to theaters, shit bombs. Nobody wants to see Lando in theaters. I'm sorry. Lando's a great character, but like, come on, dog. You really think people want to see this man in theaters, bro? Stop the cap. Okay. Next thing we have James Mangold's film. Now, if I'm correct, James Mangold's film was about, the origin of the Force going back in time. I think that movie needs to be made, but it needs to be accurate. And so if that film is still happening, Dave Filoni, I need you to go back and make sure that this is more accurate and that it's no BS that, James Mangold is just making up on his own, because a story like that, right, where, oh my gosh, because a story like that, right, where you are telling like the origins of the Force, etc., I think that has the potential to be dope. I think it does, I think it has the potential to be something really cool. So I could see something like that happening. So we'll see what happens. Next project, Taika Waititi. We don't need Taika Waititi. He's a lore killer, okay, and he just wants to be funny. This is the question for all of us fans, right? Do we need a funny Taika Waititi movie? I would say no. I think fans are sick of the side movies like Mando and Grogu. I don't know if that movie is going to do good or not in theaters. I really don't. Avatar made $1 billion, and James Cameron is saying the movie needs to make more money. Like, if he's saying that, what do you think Mando and Grogu is going to do in theaters? That scares me. But I hope it's successful. And yeah, but I don't think Taika needs to be doing a movie here. Simon Kinberg, okay, he is responsible for the death of the X-Men. in the live action. He's actively working on a new trilogy that David and Lewin are on board for. Let's just hope that this is something that is good, man. This can't be and here's the thing, right? Dave and Lewin can be on board all they want, but the question is like, Dave, I need you to go in and make these changes, bro. Like, we are relying on you, Dave Filoni, to make the right changes to these movies, and maybe that's what Simon needed with the X-Men. Maybe his ideas were good. He just needed someone to check the lore and to check, certain details to make sure that he was still on par in regards to, dealing with these characters. Because that's what we need Dave for. We need Dave for the content, bro. We really need Dave for the content. And then the last thing is confirms the Ben Solo script is great, but the film is on the back burner, which is crazy because Ben Solo was like the only character that a lot of fans cared about. A lot of people loved Ben Solo. So it's like, why would you put that on at the back burner? And you got an actor like Adam Driver who's so talented that fans love. And it's rare that, I'm shocked that Adam Driver even wanted to come back to do this movie. You know what I mean? Like, it really shocked me. So I hope that they can figure something out with Ben Solo and Adam Driver and bring the dude back. Why would you want Ben Solo to be a part of your next freaking trilogy? Him and Rey, So yeah, because I really do think if you have Rey alone, I don't think it's gonna make money, bro. I really don't. And some people will say, "Oh, it's not about the money." It is about the money, bro. Like, it's about having a good creative film, yes, but also like fans need to want to go see it. And I don't think Rey in a movie is a financially smart move from an optic standpoint. Let's read some chats. No way Aquaman would have made it alone because Aquaman is not even a top 5 DC hero. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Nightwing, Robin, and the Titans are all above Aquaman. I agree. And Aquaman made his money based off of the popularity of number one, Jason Momoa, but also it was just superhero movies and all movies were hot. Everybody was going to the movies pre-COVID, bro. I'm telling you, everybody was going to see a movie. And I think the Aquaman movie was beautifully made. I have a lot of friends that don't like it, but I love that movie. But there's no way it should have made $1 billion. That is criminal, bro. That is criminal. All right. Now, next topic here. MCU Multiverse Saga concept art. So Ryan, I think this is Ryan Meinerling's art. He's always done these like epic arts for Marvel Studios. And so now we have this as what you see above, this is the Infinity Saga. Down here on the bottom, you see the Multiverse Saga. And so we have Shuri as Black Panther, Okoye, we have the Hawk, we have Iron Man and War Machine. We have the Thing, or we have the Fantastic Four. I'm not gonna name all of them. We had a Fantastic Four, we have Wolverine, Deadpool, Loki. Who the heck is behind Loki in this image? I have no idea. I don't know. Could this be Loki's quote unquote multiversal Avengers? Yeah, could that be Steve Rogers? Don't know. So yeah, man. I think Elena's in this too. Am I tripping? Yeah, I see Elena's blonde hair right there. Yeah. We also have Yelena Belova. This art's cool, man. I think it's dope. The fact that we're getting green Angry Hawk makes me really excited. Are you guys shocked that Iron Man's in there? And to be even more frank, Tony Stark is wearing the Iron Man suit from Avengers Endgame. So what's going on there? I thought that they were trying to find a variant Tony Stark that is kind of looks nothing like our Tony Stark from our MCU. I thought they were going like for like a Supreme Iron Man, something like that. But no, it looks like we're getting Tony Stark from Avengers Endgame, which is really dope. And it feels like a lot of people like still don't believe that Tony Stark is going to be in Avengers Endgame. Like, come on, yo. But yeah, putting Shuri in that art worries me. So here's the thing about Shuri, man. So can we talk about the trailer for a moment? I wanted to make a video about this, but I'm going to say this now. We can all agree that in that trailer where we see Shuri and Baku meeting with Talokan, with the Talokan people in the Fantastic Four, she's seeing someone, because in the end of that scene, when she does the Wakanda Forever salute, homegirl looked stressed out. She looked stressed out, or she looked emotional. Could it be that T'Challa went with the Fantastic Four, or that a multiversal T'Challa is there? Could a T'Challa variant be in that scene? Or do you guys think it's Dr. Doom taking off his mask and showing that his face looks like Tony Stark? Or could it be a variant of Tony Stark? Something got her emotional. And the question is, would a Tony Stark get her that emotional? I don't think so. She didn't really know him like that. But would a T'Challa? Homegirl, like she was about to cry in that trailer at the end. So I really think that it is T'Challa multiversal. putting Shuri that word. Yeah, I mean Shuri's gonna have a big part in this regardless. And as I've said, I do want Shuri to remain as one of the Black Panthers after this. Because as I've said before, Wakanda is at its best when they're both Black Panther. When Shuri's handling the political stuff, and T'Challa's handling the stuff that's cool. Like he's being a hero, he's battling people, doing all that stuff. Like in all of the cool comics, they're both the Black Panther. So that's what it needs to be. You know, where Shuri can defend herself and she's the Black Panther, but she's still in the lab doing her thing, you know. So and for some odd reason, like she turns that down. But why would the smartest person in Wakanda turn down being like the political genius? It just that never made sense to me. But Green Angry Hawk makes me happy to see. Whether it's Doomsday or Secret Wars, we're getting Angry Hawk back. Exactly, bro. And Angry Hawk and Doomsday will be fire. Will be fire. And man, I mean, and if Thanos is in this, what if Green Hawk gets his rematch? What if him and Thanos get to spin the block again? That would also be mad fun. I would love to see something like that happen. What I could see is T'Challa is what I could see it being is T'Challa that she was looking at. So here's the question, right? If it is quote unquote T'Challa, is it the young T'Challa or has T'Challa grown up? Because why the heck would a child be with Namor? It's like why would the child be there? Because they look freaking upset, bro. You know what I mean? And it looks like the ocean is drained. So why would they bring a child there? You know, that wouldn't make sense. Has to be someone important, which makes me think it's a multiversal T'Challa or variant T'Challa. Maybe M'Baku dies and that's how the new T'Challa becomes king. Or maybe M'Baku just steps to the side when T'Challa's there. I think there is a reason why M'Baku is the king for right now. And I think it's solely for him to be able to step aside and for T'Challa to take his rightful place as king. And it's going to be Damson Idris. Did you guys see how beefed up he looked at the freaking Golden Globes, bro? Like his shoulders was a little buff. You know how I think Marvel's going to recast? I'm not going to like this, but this wouldn't surprise me. Lay it on me. Are you possibly going to say that they're going to travel up in time and older T'Challa is Damson Idris? Is that what you're going to say? Is that it's going to be like a future T'Challa, but his name is obviously T'Challa? Like we're not going to call him Tucson. Like I hate that name, Tucson. Yeah. So, but yeah, everything his art looks dope. I just was shocked that we saw Iron Man and War Machine in this. That really, Baby T'Challa will somehow travel. Exactly, bro. Older T'Challa will travel time. I could care less, bro. As long as it's T'Challa, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not getting too technical. As long as we get a version of T'Challa, I'm fine with that. But like, that's kind of what I would do. But I don't really think they would do that, bro. I think they're going variant T'Challa. How about this, Hunger Money? What if Doctor Doom is trying to snatch T'Challa and he kills him? Like, what if we don't see T'Challa ever again? That would also be nuts. Damson Idris T'Challa is adult T'Challa. Let's hope not. I mean, I wouldn't care as long as we get someone that's T'Challa that is Damson Idris. I could care less because what they're going to do is, bro, they're just going to treat him like he's regular T'Challa, and you know we're just going to erase that Wakanda Forever happened. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to erase that. Okay, now let's get to Batman Brave and the Bold. Okay, now let's talk about this. So if you guys don't know, Batman Brave and the Bold was debunked by James Gunn today. So let's talk about this. On January 15th, 2026, the DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn once took again to social media to debunk surfacing reports regarding the status of the DCU film Batman the Brave and the Bold. Now, here's the debunked news. A recent rumor suggested that a script for the film had been completed and that the casting for the new Bruce Wayne would begin shortly. Gunn directly refused this on Threads, stating, "Fiction, sorry, screenplay isn't finished." He reiterated his long-standing policy that no casting will occur until a screenplay is finalized to his satisfaction. He also dismissed separate reports claiming a late 2026 release date, noting that since no official date was ever set, the film cannot technically be delayed. Now, I'm not going to lie. I do think James Gunn debunking stuff is a bad look. So let's break into why I think this is a bad look. Okay, so while Gunn intends to provide transparency and manage expectations, his frequent social media interventions has drawn criticism. So the first thing is stifling fan engagement. Critics argue that constant debunking kills the fun of fan theorizing and speculation, which often sustains interest in long-term projects. Perceived combativeness. His direct style is sometimes interpreted as terminally online or defensive, leading to accusations that he is overly focused on internet rumors rather than studio management, and also highlighting production's slowness by confirming the script is still not finished years after the project's announcement. His comments inadvertently reminds fans that the DCU's Batman is still years away from theaters, contrasting with active production of Matt Reeves' The Batman sequel. And this also validates Scoopers. Gunn has admitted that his responses often drive traffic and engagement to the very Scoopers he's trying to discredit, potentially fueling the cycle of misinformation. And so, despite the criticism, James Gunn maintains that he only intervenes when rumors get out of hand or risk hurting the feelings of actors and directors who may be in early negotiation. This news covers James Gunn's recent clarification on the Brave and the Bold, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I do think that this is a bad look, and I don't think that James Gunn should be like yapping about Brave and the Bold. See, like, and that's why like I love Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige doesn't say anything. And I think that like when you're in a situation like James Gunn where there's possible stuff going on behind the scenes in regards to why you can't do Brave and the Bold, I would just stay quiet about it. And I really think that like there's something beautiful about silence, because you can just sit back and cook and let the people talk. Because I don't necessarily think that like the and it's like I don't think the DCU struggles with the same things that the MCU has. Like the MCU, they are in the situation where like a bad rumor could hurt fans. Like it could really hurt the excitement of fans going to a movie. With DC, I feel like fans don't really care about rumors like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of fans are just like prepared to be let down when it comes to a DC project, because we've been let down so many times. And like so like in my opinion, from my POV, James Gunn has this universe, right? There's not a lot of motion going on right now. And look, 2026 is a down year for DC. You're getting Supergirl, side, right? Clayface, side. You get Lanterns. We don't know how that show is going to perform. We just need to see more about with Lanterns, bro. It's a 12-second teaser, 12-second, like, drives me nuts. We haven't seen much. And so why are you trying to kill the only thing that fans are excited for? You know, and I don't think that's like, I don't think you're like maybe his viewpoint is like, you know, I am trying to protect fans from like falling into lies, but it's killing the hype for fans. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just keep killing rumors over and over and over, it just makes you feel like you're farther away from making a decision. You know, I'm over here thinking that 2028, you're coming out swinging with Brave and the Bold. This show might not come out till 2029 or 2030. And like fans don't want to hear that, bro. So when you keep coming out and just keep debunking over and over and over and over, it's just annoying. You know what I mean? And you know, and I think that like you need to use fans' theories and fans' excitement to drive the motion of the universe. Like, because as much as fans hated, you know, the like in regards to the MCU, as much as fans hated the road that the MCU has been on, and I think there's been a slight course correction. Like it was the rumors and the theories that kept fans excited, and I think that's one of the reasons why the MCU has still been, you know, like hype, even though it's been in its down years, because we've been excited for the Avengers movie, for what's coming. Like when Ant-Man flopped, bro, I was just saying, like, or not flop, because it really didn't do bad in box office, but like when fans didn't like the movie, I like we were still saying, okay, there's this random leaked script from King Dynasty and it seems peak. You know what I mean? Like there was still stuff that we were excited about. And you know, did Marvel Studios come out and debunk the script? No. They just let the chips fall where they may. And I feel like James Gunn, like, let the chips fall where they may, bro. And when you have confirmed news, then you talk. You know, and that's what I wish James Gunn did. Like, don't yap until you have confirmed news. You keep the debunking crap. It's just annoying. You know, it's just annoying. And I don't, and you know, for someone like me, like, look, I'm gonna wait and be patient, because you know, like I covered this stuff, you know, whatever. I'm willing to be patient, but like for a lot of fans, like, bro, like every time there's something, you know, James Gunn is just debunking it, like this is whack, and some fans are like, dude, I don't even care no more. Gunn has confirmed that Brave and the Bold will release before 2030. Yeah, so maybe a 2029, so 2028, so 2028 at the earliest, 2029 at the latest, 100%. My expectations are lower for the DCU, and that's their advantage. Meanwhile, the expectations are higher for the DCU. I do believe Gunn when he said that Brave and the Bold will release before 2030, and I believe in that too. I believe that's 100% true. I just don't feel like you have to go out and like Like, if you're getting hype, you don't have to go out and try to debunk it, bro. Just wait till you have like a confirmed date, and then like, who cares if someone thinks that the screenplay is done? Who cares? It gets fans excited. It makes fans theorize about what's going on. And then when you come with the confirmed news, we say, okay, that was fake. Here's the real stuff. Because that's what the MCU does. And it doesn't hurt the universe at all when it's good news. I don't necessarily, and the way that James Gunn thinks, like, my viewpoint is like, James Gunn, the power isn't in the rumor. The power is in what your announcement is. That's where the true power is. Because we all know that, like, unless if you announce it, it's all rumors. So that's my whole point. Like with Brandon Sklenar, like K, I think his name was like K Talks. By the way, he has some dope videos on YouTube, bro. Oh my gosh, he's a really good content creator. But with that being said, the dude just talks about Brandon Sklenar Batman 24/7. And I promise you, if Brandon Sklenar is Batman, the victory walk that K Talks guy is going to have is going to be legendary. And I might actually react to it, because I mean, his glaze for Brandon Sklenar is like next level, bro. And you know, it's very inspiring, man. I wish someone could glaze me that way. Pause. But yeah, so I would say, look at my opinion on the child. Okay, let's see what that say. I'm not going to be the biggest fan of Adult T'Challa, but as long as the marketing calls him T'Challa and not T'Challa Jr. or Tucson, he has the connection with Storm. He's part of the Avenger, and that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, don't give me the like, I'm trying to avenge my father, T'Challa. I don't want all that, bro. Like, just resume. You know what I mean? Just resume where you're at, bro. You know what I mean? Or, you know, we renamed the child Azari or something. I don't know. But Azari's the son of T'Challa and Storm. Or just give them no kids. Like, for real. But yeah, bro. That is a very reasonable take. Very reasonable take. Okay. Now, next thing, and it is so annoying to address this, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of annoyed. Now we're going to talk about Mr. Grant Gustin. So this has been circulating online again. Like, so someone tweeted this. What do you mean Grant Gustin dyed his hair blonde? What do you mean Grant Gustin dyed his hair? And by the way, when I say Azari, I'm like talking about his child, his kid. Like, I'm talking about T'Challa's kid Azari, not T'Challa Jr. being not the new T'Challa being called Azari. But anyways, what do you mean Grant Gustin dyed his hair blonde? This is so annoying because, like, whenever an actor makes any type of move in their life, fans just automatically want to jump off of ledges. He could be planning for a whole other role. You know what I mean? This could be something entirely different. And for some reason, because Barry Allen has blonde hair, we think he's playing Barry Allen in the MCU. Now, just saying, right? We all know that there's a rumor in regards to the DCU that James Gunn did not debunk, right? That a male actor is possibly making their debut in the Superman movie. I think it's the Flash. You know, I think Carter thought it was the Martian Manhunter or someone like that. So it would be very interesting for a Flash to be in this. I don't think there's no way in Hello Kitty that Grant Gustin is the main DCU Flash. There's no way that would happen. Now, there's a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, and we're doing multiverse stuff. Grant Gustin's for sure coming back, 100%. But there's no way Grant is going to be our DCU Flash. If you look at James Gunn's casting style, he's casted all B, C, and D-list actors. And some could argue Grant is a C or D-list actor, but I'm not going to disrespectful like that. But some people could argue that because the bro just isn't really in anything. But like, he's casted unknown actors, and I think that's the way you need to go with Wally West, man. You go with an unknown actor. If you cast Grant, there is the whole entire baggage, and not baggage in a bad way, but the baggage of the whole Flash. It's just not worth it, and that's why I think they should go Wally West as the main Flash because it just makes life easier. But there's no way this guy's Barry Allen, bro. There's no way he's playing Barry Allen in the DCU, and that is insane, bro. Like, that is insane. Like, if you guys think that, you're truly crazy. You know, and you can't use the Jason Momoa argument because he's playing Lobo. He's not Aquaman. If Flash debuts a Man tomorrow, then at that point have Batman in it. Wonder Woman, Green Lantern are in it, and you add Flash, and that's basically the whole Justice League except Batman. Yes, and I actually put out a video, I think last week, talking about how I think Man of Tomorrow is a soft launch of the Justice League. I think this will be the Captain America Civil War of the DCU. I really do, because they don't want to throw us into a Justice League movie just yet. So why not involve everybody? I think that'll be dope. We'll see what happens, but I think the Flash is going to pop up in Ant-Man tomorrow. But I do think it's Wally West though. I don't think it's Barry Allen. And I would like a situation where like Barry is the mentor. I would like that too. I would have Barry Allen Flash debut at Man tomorrow, and then when it's time to do a Flash movie again, you go Wally West. See, I would just do Wally for real, but I understand what you're saying, bro. I understand what you're saying. I hear where you're coming from. Like, and even in Justice League Unlimited, because that is a big inspiration. Like when I was growing up, like I remember when Bruce Wayne exposed him as Wally West, and I was shocked. I thought it was Barry Allen the whole time. I really did. I was shocked that Flash in Justice League Unlimited was like actually Wally West. That shocked the heck out of me. So, but that's the road. But honestly, either one works. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, my cat is crying at the door. 1 second. But yeah, guys, I think either one works. You know, it could be the Flash. Yeah, it could be whoever, bro. Either one works, regardless. But then again, Damian is Robin, so that means Dick is Nightwing. If Dick is Nightwing, then Wally. Exactly. You know, and you could do a situation where like Barry doesn't have his powers at the moment, and he's mentoring Wally West. You know, and I think that'll be super different from what we've seen. Regardless. All right, next topic here, Mr. Blue Beetle. So Blue Beetle will be back very soon in the DCU. Let's talk about that. So on January 15th, today, new confirmations from director Angel Manuel Soto and lead actor Zolo, they solidified that Blue Beetle will return to the DCU much sooner than expected. While James Gunn has previously called Jamie Reyes the first DCU character, these latest updates clarify exactly how he will be integrated into the new universe. So, he is possibly going to return in an animated series that is in advanced production, where Zola will reprise his role as Jamie Reyes, and this series is aiming for a 2026 release, but I don't really know, man, because we already know what's coming out. But that was talked about before. Obviously, James Gunn lied about Peacemaker 2, because he did tease that Jamie was going to come back, but he did not. I don't think Blue Beetle 2 is happening. There was potential on it, and like Belissa, like she stated that a direct sequel is already in development. I'm not sure if I like believe that, man. I really don't. And so James Gunn has clarified that while the 2023 Blue Beetle movie was released under the previous regime, the character of Jamie Reyes and his family are being folded into the new DCU without being recast. And there was supposed to be an animated series that may serve as a soft reboot, retelling some events. I don't know. And Angel Manuel is supposed to be the screenwriter of this and all that stuff, but like we have yet, this is like the first thing that we have heard about it. So maybe a Blue Beetle animated show is coming out next year, maybe something like that. There's no way a Blue Beetle show is dropping this year. Honestly, Blue Beetle would have been fire in Superman 1. If Blue Beetle was in the Justice Gang, or even if Superman was just mentoring Blue Beetle, I think that would be good. Like I think Blue Beetle works best when he's like the mentee to a hero. Like the first time I saw him was a Batman Brave and the Bold, and I thought that it was going to end. He always be mentored by Batman, and I thought it was super cool seeing their dynamic. I actually really enjoyed Blue Beetle and Batman together, but that's not going to work because Batman has the Bat family to kind of worry about. He has a son, it's Damian. So, and Damian's too much. That do be wilding. So we'll see what happens with the Blue Beetle. Let's see. Why not have both Flashes? Now, just bring back Kid Flash. I'm not gonna lie, I don't care about the Blue Beetle return. If he comes back, he comes back. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It's whatever. What up, Carter? I have an idea of what the DCU can do with Tim Drake, but it's going to be controversial. Talk to me. Tell me about what you think the DCU can do with Tim Drake. Now, let me tell you what the Batman comics are doing with Tim Drake right now. Right now, Batman has two Robins. He has not Dick Grayson. My bad, but he does have two Robins right now. he has Tim Drake as kind of the main Robin, and then Damian is also Robin too. Batman could have two Robins and it could easily work. Not gonna lie. But to be honest, what they're probably gonna do is like I wouldn't mind Red Robin either, but just make him stay as Red Robin. You know what I mean? Okay, let me hear. All right, I don't care, bro. I will read it all. Give me your idea on Robin. Because y'all know I love Robin to death. Robin's my favorite superhero of all time. So let me hear it. But yeah, I think there's you two Robins, or you make Tim Drake Red Robin, and then he just pops up whenever Batman needs him. Just call it a day. I mean, keep it that simple. Wouldn't even mind if you put, even if you do a Teen Titans, just do Nightwing, Damian, Robin, and Red Robin. Just put Red Robin as an active Teen Titans member. He can kind of go wherever you want him to be at. Because, and this is on my lore topics list to do a video on how DC Comics failed Tim Drake, because they did fail him as a character, sadly. So hopefully James Gunn can do some justice to Tim Drake if he's going to be in this. Mr. Drake is the smartest Robin. He's not the best. He's not the best Robin, but he is the smartest Robin. So we will see what happens. All right, I'm going to get to this next topic, and Hungry Almighty, when you send your chat for Robin, I'll read it and we'll talk about it. Okay. Now we're going to get to Game of Thrones. So there is Game of Thrones sequel series news. We're going to check that out. So here we go. Multiple reports confirm that HBO has revived plans for a Game of Thrones sequel series, shifting focus from the previously scrapped Jon Snow spinoff. So here's the development status of this. So the project is currently in very early development, serving as a creative pivot after HBO found the original Jon Snow pitch, which featured a broken Jon living in isolation north of the Wall, to be very melancholic. Oh, that would have been so annoying. I do not want to see another Wall Jon. I'm good. So there's going to be a new creative team. No actors are signed. This does include Arya Stark and Kit Harington. They're thinking about shifting to Essos. One major story path being explored moves the action away from the north towards the continent of Essos. The revival is reportedly centered on including Arya Stark alongside Jon Snow, or potentially as the sole lead. Arya's history and bravos in her final scene in Game of Thrones, where she left to sail to explore the west of Westeros. There are hurdles, about just the actors coming back. Now, let's talk about this. If you were to do a Game of Thrones sequel series off of the last season, you have to go west. That's where Melisandre's from. All of the magic is from there, And I think that, like, when we get such a grounded Game of Thrones story where it's about politics and it ends the way it does, you have to go straight into magic. And so I will, like, you got to go to Valeria, and you got to go to all that. You got to get weird. And so I think the West is the smartest place to go. The question is, could Arya be the only character to do that with? Because, I mean, you could say Jon Snow because he's Aegon Targaryen, technically, by the show's logic. We don't know what George R. Martin is going to do with Jon Snow. But in regards to the show logic, Jon Snow is Aegon. So why wouldn't he go to the West and find a new dragon? You could make it that crazy. So and then you can run the Game of Thrones story back where he's trying to kill Bran, because Bran is like losing his mind as the three-eyed raven and becoming an evil god king. You know what I mean? You could go that route, but I do think that, like, this all depends on what George R. Martin is going to do with ending his book. And I don't think they're going to redo the last season. Amelia Clark just said the other day she's not going to do any more fantasy stuff. So who knows? But I think going west is the best option. What more can you do with King's Landing or Winterfell or Harrenhal and all? Like, what more can you do? You know what I mean? They've done everything. And so I think that, like, from a series standpoint, if you want to go west, you go into all of the magic. You go into the slave trade. You go into all of, like, Daenerys did so much out there and just left, so there's a lot of kickback from that too, from what Daenerys did with freeing the slaves and all that stuff. So I think it's very, I think Arya could play a big part because, she's powerful. She can switch her face. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with that. But, the West, I like that idea of them going west, but I wouldn't want Arya alone. I think Jon Snow would be a dope addition. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see what you guys say, Hungry. Man of Tomorrow, you introduce Batman and Robin, Tim. Then Brave and the Bold, you introduce Damian in his assassin outfit. Brave and the Bold, the three main characters are Batman, Robin, Tim, and Damian. Tim and Damian form a bond. Robin, Tim sacrifices himself to save Damian. Damian takes the mantle of Robin in honor of Tim Drake. Now you have Damian as the main Robin while fighting Nightwing and Red Hood appear in time from time to time. It essentially condenses the Bat family but utilizes every member. Batman and his two main Robins, Damian and Nightwing. Barbara is Oracle. Tim is dead. Red Hood appears. Oh, I think I read that already. Keep in mind the DCU being a. Keep in mind with the DCU being established, you always make prequel projects that have Tim Drake. Interesting. It will be perfect because they've written Tim Drake so badly. But if I was James Gunn, I would keep Tim Drake, bro, and just write him the way you want. You can put him anywhere you want. I will make him a Teen Titan. Put him with Damian. I'll make Nightwing the leader of the Teen Titans with Damian and Tim Drake. I think there's use of Tim Drake in the DCU still. You can't have a character that magnificent and just bench him like that. I don't think that would be fair. And that's the thing with the Batman, bro. Dude gets all the good characters, bro. The best characters, the best villains, the best sidekicks. Like Batman is blessed, bro. I'm telling you, he gets lucky, man. The best he has the best girlfriends, Catwoman. Like, bro, always gets the best. Okay, now there's some Aegon conquest news. So let's break this down. Okay, so George R. R. Martin confirmed significant shifts in the development of the Aegon conquest prequel. Sorry. So HBO and Warner Bros. Discovery are currently exploring two possible paths for the project. At its scale, is considered too large for a standard television format. A massive feature film, option one, being developed by Warner Bros. Film team as a mammoth Dune-sized theatrical movie, or a HBO drama series, a traditional premium television format led by lead writer Madison Tomlin, who is doing the Batman Part 2, who has already submitted a script for the first season. Now, here's some key creative details if you guys want to be informed. So, the story serves as a direct prequel to The House of the Dragon, set approximately 100 years before it and 300 years before Game of Thrones. The focus of the plot is it centers on Aegon the First Targaryen and his sister wives, Visenya and Rhaenys, using their dragons, Balerion, the Black Dread, Meraxes, and Vhagar to conquer and unite the six of the seven kingdoms. Madsen Tomlin has described his work as personal and faithful to Martin's Fire and Blood, focusing on the heavy consequences of empire building and magic. George R. R. Martin's involvement is kind of crazy too. Martin is actively collaborating with Tomlin to ensure historical accuracy with the franchise's lore. This has not been greenlit. While scripts are being written in various formats are under consideration, the project has not been officially greenlit for production. If there's an estimated release date, it looks like it's coming out maybe late 2027 or early 2028. Aegon's Conquest is my favorite thing when it comes to Game of Thrones. It's the prequel trilogy of Game of Thrones. I know some people think House of the Dragon is, but Aegon's Conquest is way cooler. I think you do the TV show format. It will cost you a lot of money though. You know what I mean? It would be cheaper to do a movie. It would be, but I just think that like you do the episodic format and it just makes it way better. Aegon's Conquest is one of the coolest things. So Aegon is basically the guy that becomes the first king of the seven kingdoms. You know what I mean? He becomes the ultimate ruler and he does it by force. And him and his sisters, yes, those two women as you see right there, those are his sister wives and they conquer. So like a lot of y'all wonder how the cest happens. Look at it right there. One of the starts to it. And I think there's drama that you can, and I think there's drama in there. I think there's so much action and just how powerful the dragons are, bro. It's going to be freaking insane, bro. It'll be so awesome. It'll be so awesome. So yeah, I hope that they do Aegon's Conquest, TV show style. Keep it simple, easy money. I don't think a movie would do Aegon's Conquest justice, in my opinion. Let's see. Posting awards, would you like the Avenger? Sorry, posting awards. What would you like the Avengers roster to look like? To me, it has to be different from the pre-Doomsday lineup. Here's my idea of lineup. Okay, tell me what your lineup is, but I'm gonna tell you mine. So first, before we even get to that, we got to talk about the future of the MCU. Okay, I do believe the future of the MCU is gonna be team based. I think it's all about teams, and so I think like it's gonna be a bunch of team up films. I think we need like a West Coast Avengers. Like we need to make it happen. So my ideal Avengers lineup is I'm going Cap, Iron Man, Thor, obviously. I'm going T'Challa, Wolverine will be on and off. I think Wolverine might if Wolverine is not in the X-Men, he's going to be somewhere. Put him on the Avengers. Not Hugh Jackman though. That has to be a recast. I'm saying Spider-Man. I'm saying Natasha or not Natasha. Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Spider-Man, Black Widow, Yelena Belova, and I forget the sixth person I said. Um, yeah. I think Ant-Man's done after this, bro. You think Hank and Janet, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man and Wasp, Hank and Janet, T'Challa, Captain Marvel. Wow. Hawk appears from time to time as special attraction. Bro, here's what I would like to do. Let's eliminate Bruce Banner and just keep him as the Hawk. I don't want to see Bruce Banner again. Just keep him as the Hawk. That will be fire. I'm so sick of Bruce Banner, bro. Like, I am. He's glazed too much. Let's just keep him as a Hawk. Let him have a 12-year-old attitude, and you keep it that way to where he can talk, but he talks like a freaking 4-year-old. Similar to what we saw in Thor Ragnarok. I think Thor Ragnarok Hawk is the best version of Hawk that we've seen, where he's like present enough to understand what people are saying, right? But he's like a child. That's the best version of Hawk. Keep him there. That's what I want to see. All right. Next thing, Kratos. This is crazy. So 2 days ago, Amazon Prime Video officially announced that veteran actor Ryan Hurst has been cast as Kratos in the upcoming live-action God of War series. So the actor Ryan Hurst is best known for his roles as Opie Winston in The Sons of Anarchy and Beta in The Walking Dead. And he's already been a part of the God of War franchise. So he's provided the voice and motion capture for Thor in the 2022 game God of War Ragnarok. Christopher Judge gave him the blessing. You know, and if you know who Christopher Judge is, he portrayed Kratos in the most recent games, and he said, you know, you were going to be great, boy. And so let's talk about the series. So this series will adapt the Norse mythology era of the franchise, specifically focusing on the 2018 game storyline, and it follows Kratos and his youngest son Atreus on a journey to spread the ashes of Kratos' second wife Faye. The show has received 2 seasons from Amazon. We know that, and no release date has been set yet. So. And they have a really good team behind them, so I'm really happy. My opinion, I think this guy. I don't know much about his work, but I trust the team. That's just kind of where I'm at. Don't know much about his work, but I trust the team, and I'm not really tripping about this show. I think this show's gonna be good. A lot of people down Amazon. I think Amazon does a really good job of doing shows and movies. Rings of Power is a really good show. Gets a lot of hate, but it's a really good show. And from seeing the way that Rings of Power has improved, The Wheel of Time, another amazing show that sadly got canceled, which sucks. The show got so much better. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with God of War. But the thing I'm scared of is like fans are so vile, man. You know, and if it's not what people want, they cry about it. And like the thing with Percy Jackson that I like is like it's not a 1-to-1 adaptation, which should be obvious, but like, you know, you guys have to understand, like, these castings aren't going to be perfect 24/7. It's rare to find an actor that can act and look and portray in such a perfect manner. We've been so blessed with people like Tony Stark, with people like even newer David Cornsweet, people like Chris Evans, like Chris Hemsworth. Even though I don't agree, even though the way people view Christian Bale's Batman or Heath's Joker, like they portray what they're supposed to so well that we expect that out of everyone. And not everyone has that ability. And the people that do can't look like a Kratos. You know? Even when we talk about Lara Croft, they can't look just like a Lara Croft. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. And I know it sounds like me trying to cape, but I mean, it's just the truth. What if they made Hawk part of the new Avengers with Winter Soldier, like the comic doing right now? Winter Soldier's probably going to die, bro. I think he's cooked in Avengers Doomsday. Also, the reason I put Ant-Man and Wasp is because they weren't really Avengers in the Infinity Saga. The Infinity Saga was the 6 you saw in Avengers. Yeah, I don't want Ant-Man and Wasp. I actually also have an idea what Marvel can do with the Avengers plus Secret Wars that will be different from the. Spill it. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Yeah, I don't want Hank and Janet, bro. I think that they would go with Scott Lang before them too, bro. To be honest, they would just keep Scott Lang. I mean, like, let me see. What is the traditional Avengers lineup? Let me see. Avengers lineup. Okay. So, okay, let's name these characters. Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, Captain America, Ant-Man, Wasp, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. So here's who we got. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. I don't think Hawkeye will be in this. Vision will be back in the Avengers. Scarlet Witch, I don't know. Falcon will definitely be on the Avengers roster. Man, Black Panther will be on that Avengers roster, and Captain Marvel probably was going to be, but due to all the drama, she's probably not. I wouldn't be shocked if Ms. Marvel is also an Avenger, bro. Wouldn't be shocked. Not saying she have a big role, but wouldn't be shocked if they throw her on there. All right. Last topic of the night. We're going to take a look at Lara Croft. Then after this, we're going to look at the video I made crapping on Kathleen Kennedy in 2021. It should be funny. Now, we in the middle picture, as you see, we get the first look at Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. And let's just say, man, what a heck of a casting. I did not have faith in this at first. And then I did, because I was like, I forgot how good of an actress Sophie Turner is. Okay. So Amazon MGM Studios released the first official look at Sophie Turner as Lara Croft to commemorate the start of production on the live-action Tomb Raider series. As you look at the costume details, teal green tank top is not the traditional brown. You know what I'm saying? Brown tactical shorts, fingerless gloves, and a tactical harness. The look is completed with Croft's signature dual thigh holsters and the circular red tinted glasses, famously seen in Tomb Raider 3. And obviously, Sophie Turner looks ripped. Like she looks like she's been in the gym, bruh. And I'm pretty sure she posted some pictures on Instagram of her like getting husky, of her getting ripped for this role, which I'm very impressed. So here's my opinion. I think she looks great. And I think that she's going to land this regardless. As I said, she's not going to look exactly like Lara Croft, but she looks good enough. Question, did Angelina Jolie look just like Lara Croft when she did Tomb Raider? No. You know what I'm saying? So I think Sophie Turner is going to do a good job. And I think it's her time to prove people wrong. I think a lot of people are misunderestimating her acting ability. And a lot of people try to use X-Men Dark Phoenix as proof. We cannot use that trash movie, bro. She was in Game of Thrones. Okay. I think she's great. I think she's greatness. And I think that this show will show us how great she is. So Sophie Turner, I'm in your corner. I think you're going to do a great job portraying Lara Croft. I cannot wait to see the show. Make the post-Secret Wars Avengers movies more grounded. The lineup be Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Wasp, T'Challa, Thor's off in space. Graviton's and Philip Hawk appears the final battle. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, I just don't know, bro. Will the Avengers even have the same effect, bro? When you have the X-Men and Fantastic Four going too? Another question. So you have to add characters that people care about. So it have to be Thor. Thor will have to be in there. Some other characters. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do post Secret Wars, man. In regards to the Avengers, I think that's a real question, bro. Because like I think about the X-Men and the Fantastic Four so much, but I never think about the Avengers, bro. I never. Because there was a
okay. I'm gonna read this article.
Can I pause that? Goodness gracious. Okay. Now to end this episode, I'm going to react to a video that I made in 2021. Okay. This was when this was called the Superhero Post Show. I mean, this is a long time ago. So we're gonna watch my video and react to when I was mad about Star Wars. Let's watch it. Definitely a Canva edit, by the way. Hello, guys. How are you doing? Welcome to the Superhero Post Show. And today we will be talking about some Star Wars stuff. Yes. I've made the thought that I'm going to get over my feelings and I'm going to express my feelings. This is why did I say I'm going to get over my feelings, but I'm going to express my feelings? I sound like an idiot. Oh my gosh. Created my YouTube to express my feelings. So that means, sorry, I just dropped my heater, that I am not going to shy away from telling you guys how I feel about Kathleen Kennedy. I'm just going to be straight up and honest from this point, you know? So have I not been honest before? Like what? let's get right into it. So we're going to read this article and about obviously the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is not being replaced because there was a shareholders meeting a couple of days ago, and Bob Chapek. So if you guys remember back in the day, everyone thought that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were going to take Star Wars because they were killing it with Mandalorian. Heck, basically told his shareholders that Kathleen Kennedy will not be replaced by Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni because it was asked by one of the shareholders. That's the crazy part. They asked about that because they saw how crazy she's been being bashed for the past, years. Since really 2017 when the last Jedi came out. So there's no truth to the rumors that Kathleen Kennedy is being replaced as the head of Lucasfilm. Disney CEO Bob Chapek assured shareholders on an investors call on Tuesday. Chapek was asked rather bluntly if Kennedy was being replaced by Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, both of whom have been building out the Disney Plus Star Wars realm with shows like The Mandalorian and the upcoming The Book of Boba Fett. Taken aback, Chapek responded, "We've been absolutely thrilled that we can have the kind of talent that Kathleen Kennedy, like Kathy Kennedy, to direct Lucasfilm. We look forward to have Kathleen Kennedy running the Lucasfilm organization for many years to come." Rumors have been swirling about Kennedy being replaced for years, but it has largely just been some wishful thinking on the part of disgruntled fans like me. George Lucas chose Kennedy as his successor when he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and she oversaw the expansion of the Star Wars universe with the new Skywalker saga films, spin-off, and TV shows. Things got off to a pretty great start with Star Wars The Force Awakens and the first spin-off Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, a huge box office success. But the Force Awakens sequel, The Last Jedi, rubbed some fans the wrong way, despite the fact, it is not a brilliant film. Yeah, bro, the glaze, like these guys, I'm telling you, bro, some of these news people, bro, they glaze just to keep getting invited to these Star Wars movies, bro. Some of these dudes are not honest. Like, you can still get invited and call a movie trash, man. Come on. That's why I respect people like John Campion, people like that, because they're actually honest when a movie's trash. Yo, do y'all want to see John Campion's movie review for The Last Jedi, bro? It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Let me see where I find it. The divided fan reaction to The Last Jedi was by the accelerated release of Solo: A Star Wars Story, which became the lowest grossing Star Wars movie to date by a wide margin, and which suffered its own production problems when directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller were replaced during film by Ron Howard. The rumors of Kennedy's seat being in jeopardy even extended to Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige when we asked Feige directly earlier this year if he was involved in upcoming Star Wars movies beyond the one he's producing, and he flatly said no. Did I really see her read this whole freaking article? And this is crazy. Yo, do y'all remember when Kevin Feige was going to do his own Star Wars film and him and Kathy apparently had a falling out? That's crazy, bro. Oh, my bad. Could hopefully put those rumors to rest. And all in all, Kennedy has been successful at relaunching one of the biggest franchises in the world while also steering into the live. Kathy's not responsible for the success of Mando. Her responsibility for Mando was saying, yes, you can make that show. That doesn't make her responsible. Hey, look, we got to give props because she was the president, but just because you said yes and you wove your wand and let the good boys make their project doesn't mean you're that responsible, bro. Action TV realm. So that is the article. So apparently, and I heard the audio of what happened. You guys can check it out too. I'll stick the link. I'll stick the link below. The Disney shareholders literally asked, like, are they firing Kathleen Kennedy, and is she being replaced by Favreau or Dave Filoni? Right. So this is how I feel about Kathleen Kennedy being president of Lucasfilm. Okay. I'm not gonna get too extreme right now, but I'm gonna put it like this. I believe that Kathleen Kennedy had her chance to lead Lucasfilm. I believe Kathleen Kennedy had her chance to really put Star Wars on the map and to make it the best franchise out here. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that Star Wars could be more profitable than Marvel. There's no doubt in my mind Star Wars could be more profitable than DC. There's no doubt in my mind that it could be that, or be close to Marvel, because Marvel's is on another level. And y'all might think I might sound crazy about saying that. Star Wars at its best is just as profitable as the MCU. I'm just spitting facts. And you guys know I love the MCU. Just being real right now. But Kathleen Kennedy had her chance to lead Star Wars to that, and she had a chance to do that by engaging other fans, while having newer fans get attached to newer characters. But it just kind of felt like this has become her whole political activist movement. Like that's kind of what it's felt for me. I'm being honest with you guys. This has been all about just stuff that she stands for, and it's not about telling a good story. So I believe that Kathleen Kennedy has had her chance to lead Lucasfilm, and she just hasn't done a great job of it. I mean, regardless of what the numbers say, let's not go off of numbers. Let's go off of the fact that the fandom is literally split right now. There are people like me who don't really bang with the sequel trilogy movies, who really don't reference them anymore when they talk about Star Wars. And then there are other people that love them. And the ratio isn't that big, because this is the thing. There's a lot of people who support the ideas that Star Wars has right now, but they don't watch the actual movies. They don't pay to watch movies. We're the ones that are paying for the content. You know what I mean? And Kathleen has done some great things. I'm not going to knock her for that. You know, the Mandalorian, with hiring Favreau and Filoni to direct it, I think that was a great move by her. Rogue One was a great movie. Force Awakens was okay. I mean, she hasn't done all bad. I'm not going to say that, but she's made some very pivotal moves that has ruined Star Wars. This is before the Acolyte came out too. So, dude, like you can't mess up like George Lucas messed up. Like, well, my opinion, I don't think he did, but I mean, his movies weren't always the best. They weren't. But at the end of the day, he still honored what Star Wars. I mean, he created Star Wars, so he honored, you know, what Star Wars, the truth of what Star Wars is. Kathleen Kennedy hasn't done that. Like, I'm not saying you can mess up. Feige has messed up. Thor: Dark World was trash. Like, there were some trash movies that have been made by great producers and great. Dang, I said Thor: Dark World was trash. I rescind that statement. Thor: Dark World is gas. I can't believe I said that. Presidents of, you know, certain film divisions, whatever. But they always come back with the greater movies. Kathleen Kennedy hasn't done that. And I think for and since we're probably going to get Kathleen Kennedy, I mean, since Kathleen Kennedy's going to be here for a while, I think her best option is to hire people that know the content. You know, like the reason why Mandalorian works so hard, works so well, is because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are Star Wars sweats. They know the material and they know what they have to do, and they're excited to add more elements to the material. Those are the kinds of hear that, and we need Dave to come beside people like Simon Kinberg. And as much as I can't stand him, I can't stand Simon Kinberg, but he needs to come beside people and like what Favreau or what Filoni did with Mandalorian with Favreau. We need him to do that with every single Star Wars project coming out going forward. Directors and producers that Kathleen Kennedy needs for Star Wars to be successful. We don't need to be hiring Rian Johnsons and J.J. Abrams, people that that barely read about Star Wars, that barely know anything about the rules, the rules with the Force and the abilities and the story plots. We don't need those. We need sweats. You know what I mean? And so, if I was Bob Chapek and if I had it my way, I would. All right, let's hear what I'll say. Fire Kathleen Kennedy and put Favreau and Filoni at the top, because Filoni can handle that. Filoni's a creator. He doesn't need to be at the top, but he needs to be in charge of creating the ideas. Hey, so I called it, bro. I called it, which I'm not saying like I probably wasn't the first one to say it, because everybody was saying that. I mean, this isn't like something that's so groundbreaking. Everybody knew this at this point. I'll put Favreau at the top and put like Filoni right under him. That's what I would do, because then Star Wars would be probably the second most successful. And honestly, Favreau and Filoni probably wouldn't work, because I don't think Favreau would want to deal with all the business crap. Just being real, Favreau's a movie maker. Franchise out here. Seriously. So that's what I would do. But since we're going to be having Kathleen Kennedy for a while, unless something miraculously happens, Kathleen Kennedy needs to have the mind state of, I'm going to put myself in the best position so I can keep my freaking job, and I'm going to hire people with creative control to do it. Okay. I mean, I was pretty much on brand with that. Now, let's pull up what John can't. Yo, this John can't be a video, bro. I remember when I first saw this, bro, I was legit crying tears, bro. I thought it was so funny. Okay, so this is John Campia's review of the
right here. Okay,
so this is him, and I'm pretty sure he went to like the actual screening. This is one of the funniest videos. Watch.
Hey guys, John here. Okay, so I am at the after party. You're standing just outside of the after party.
Yes, bro is at the after party, bro. Let's watch this, bro. This is why I love John Campea, bro. John Campea is one of the GOATs. So here is John Campea's review of The Rise of Skywalker.
For the premiere of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, just saw it, just walked out. Here's my quick first reaction to it. I think this is a movie that a lot of people are going to like. It's got some big highlight moments. JJ went for some stuff that's very different and very bold, and I applaud him for it. Like I said, I think a lot of people are going to really like this movie. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them.
Yo, he just the way John Campea words stuff is so amazing. Bro said a lot of people are going to like this movie. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Yo, John Campea's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. All right, let's keep watching.
I gotta say, I don't ever remember walking out of a Star Wars movie as disappointed as I was in this one. Again, it's got highlights, and I think there are a bunch of people who are really going to like it, and I applaud a lot of stuff that JJ was going for in it. A good, bold attempt. It just fell flat for me. I can't go into any details because the review embargo is still in place, but I just wanted to give you my quick first reaction. We'll talk more about it on the John Campea Show tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys later.
Now, I need to go and rewatch. I don't think I ever watched his reaction show. I need to go and watch it, but that is freaking hilarious, bro. I've never heard someone so nicely tell us that they hate a movie, and that's why he's one of the GOATs, because he can just pick you apart that nicely, bro. Yeah, bro. John Campea is so funny, bro. Like that is the nicest way of saying this movie is booty cheeks. That is what this is, bro. John Campea is the GOAT. John Campea is the GOAT. All right, Hunger Money. I'm gonna read the rest of these, and then I'm gonna hop off because I know you had some chats. Let me remove this and go full screen. There we go. New Avengers movie post Secret Wars is an introduction of these characters. Tony is already Iron Man. Iron. Okay, I got you. I also have one last alternative idea of what Marvel can do with the Avengers post Secret Wars. If you want to hear, let me see. Post Secret Wars, the Avengers is not a thing. They haven't somebody yet. Cap is frozen. Tony's a solo guy. Hawk on the run. Thor hasn't come to Earth yet. T'Challa's on Wakanda. Bring them in together later. So it's like start off solo again. Would be interesting, but they're probably not going to do that. I think they're going to act like the Avengers are already established, and then we're just going to be like, okay, Age of Ultron and all this stuff has happened, but like they've just stayed together. I don't know. I really don't know, man. They got a lot of explaining to do. All right, y'all. I'm hopping off, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. The audios will be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just type in Loreverse Live Podcast. You'll be able to listen back. I think we have 9 episodes up. I'm going to put up the rest of the episodes tonight, so you guys can check that out. I love you guys. Have a great day. Stay crispy and peace out.